Hey there, Alex Kidman back for my day 2 of my vlogging my review of the iPhone 15 Pro experiment. Going well enough so far, and today I just wanted to cover off just a couple of details, primarily the action button on the new 15 Pro, which we can see there, and the fine woven case, which you can see on the phone. So if you've already watched the day 1 blog, you'd be aware that this did not come out of the box with a case on it, because they don't do that. In fact, there's only a few companies I can think of that actually ship phones with cases already on. And instead, they come out, as I'm trying to show you and kind of failing, the joys of filming live, there we go. They come out like this. But Apple also did send me one of their new fine woven cases. Now, if you're not aware, fine woven is Apple's new thing with the iPhone 15 family. They're moving away from leather. That's not a bad thing, I think. Your opinion may vary. And they have this new, mostly recycled materials case. Now, that's all well and good. That's actually quite laudable in and of itself. That's a good thing. But this is a 99 Australian dollar case, and that means it should be a really, really good case. And as you're probably already aware, there's been a lot of talk online about how bad these cases are. So do I think this is a disaster area of a case? Well, so far, not a disaster area. I got to say, I'm not seeing $100 in it though. So I've literally only had it on for a day, and there's already a few little marks that seemingly are going to be there forever. And it just feels kind of ordinary. Like, yes, okay, it's quite light, and it's got an Apple logo on the back if you like that kind of thing. And it is MagSafe compatible, so I can use this with MagSafe accessories. And you can see, it just kind of flicked up to say, hey, that's a MagSafe thing. But other than that, it's just a bit ordinary. And I think one of the big things here is I'm someone who absolutely puts a case on every phone. Every phone I own, every phone I test, I want to put a case on it because phones are expensive, people. And I don't get this whole, oh no, I really hate having a case on a phone, it ruins the phone. No, it protects the phone. It stops the phone from being ruined. That's pretty simple. But the fine woven cases for the price they're at, yeah, look, that's a bit of a hard sell. I'm not convinced. I'm not seeing the full-on fraying and absolute destruction that certainly some reporters have seen, and I'm not discounting their experiences. But yeah, I'm not entirely sold either. Now, before I get onto the action button, I did want to briefly touch on battery endurance because I want to do this day by day. I've also got a few standalone tests I tend to do, but I wanted to kind of show off what was actually happening with it. So it's, as you can see, 4:30 in the afternoon now. I took this off the charger just after 7:20, and it's sitting on 28%. Now, that might not seem great, but I will say I have hammered this phone. I've really used it quite heavily. I did a big batch of 4K filming a bit earlier with it. That always chews up the battery. I've been pretty brutal to it, and it's still lasted, even though it's not technically the end of the working day, given it came off the charger at 7:20, it still lasted that equivalent working day without too much trouble. I will see how it goes on days when I'm a bit lighter on usage over time, but for now it's standing up okay under a fairly heavy level of usage, bearing in mind that this is also a fairly high-end phone with a fairly high-end price. So the action button, which is this little top button here, those are volume buttons, you get these only on the Pro phone. So if I pull that to the side and pull in the 15 Plus, it's got your traditional little mute switch there. I can flick that and it'll flick the mute on and off for me, same as iPhones have done basically forever. If you go Pro, you get the action button. So what kind of actions can you do? I'm glad you asked. So it's kind of entertaining because you go into settings to set the action button, and all of this looks very iOS. But as soon as you go in there, you get this. You get this, it sort of looks console-ish. Like, it's kind of weird, especially if you leave it for a little while, does this little animation where it turns to the side. I mean, I'm told it maybe looks a little bit like the Vision Pro, but it just doesn't feel very Apple, or it certainly doesn't feel very iOS to me. But the default is for silent mode, and that's basically the mute switch. So if I long press there, it'll throw itself, I don't think I got that on camera, but it'll throw itself in and out of mute. And look, you know, silent, that all works. That works exactly the same as the old mute switch would have done. You also get a range of other things, so I can launch the camera, I can go for the torch, I could always capture this as full video, of course, but it's kind of more fun and ad hoc this way, and that's the whole point of this vlog. What's really interesting here, though, is shortcuts. And look, I can't claim to have invented this idea. I'll actually throw a link into my description for the video that I used for the tutorial for setting up my own shortcut menu. Because the nice thing with shortcuts is not only can you set a single shortcut, you can set a menu of them. So if I say, yeah, I want my shortcut menu to go, then when I do a long press, instead of muting or launching the camera or launching other apps or whatever, I get a full-on menu, and that's a menu I can set. I can name it, I can choose it, I can pick it against various shortcuts. It's really powerful. I like it a lot. And it's another reason, in fact, why the battery has run down so much. It does strike me, of course, that this isn't a pro feature. Like, Apple can argue that, look, the pros who want the cameras want the higher end phones, and that's fair enough. If you want those higher end, more camera-like features, yeah, maybe. But this is a feature that they've thrown on here to make the pros a little bit more different, a little bit more special. I certainly hope, a bit like the fact that the dynamic island is across all of the 15 phones this year, that the action button actually comes to all of the iPhones next year, because it's a really nice little feature. I am genuinely enjoying it. I'm genuinely finding that it's really quite useful. Anyway, that is my take for day 2. Still seeking comment from you, the viewer. What do you want to know about? What do you want to see me test? What do you want to hear about, I guess? I'll finish out, and if you've lasted this long, thank you very much, with a couple of photo samples I've taken today. I will have a day of this vlog dedicated to the cameras, but that day is not today. In any case, hit me up with your comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe.